Imagine waking up in a country once celebrated for its breathtaking landscapes, universal healthcare, and unmatched quality of life, only to find yourself battling skyrocketing living costs, crumbling infrastructure, and a sense of hopelessness. Welcome to Canada in 2025, a nation struggling with challenges so severe that some now question whether it has become the worst place to live in the world. From unaffordable housing to climate catastrophes, this video will break down why life in Canada has become a struggle for millions. Prepare to uncover the shocking truth behind what went wrong in the Great White North. Although there is nothing unknown about Canada's housing crisis, in 2025, it peaked to points where it is impossible for a normal person to find an affordable house. Rent for an average one-bedroom apartment is averaging $3,500 in such cities as Toronto and Vancouver. Even relatively minor cities, Halifax and Winnipeg included, no longer are an economical haven since renting costs $2,000 for a month. Homeownership? Forget about it. The average home price in major cities has crossed $1.5 million, putting the dream of owning property far out of reach for the middle class. You might be thinking, what went wrong? Despite promises from the government to lower speculative buying, foreign investors continue to dominate the market, driving up prices. Moreover, bureaucratic red tape has hindered new housing developments, and existing units are snapped up faster than they can be built. While housing costs have skyrocketed, wages have barely kept pace, creating a growing divide between income and affordability. This housing crisis has left countless Canadians forced to choose between basic necessities or leaving the country altogether. And for many, leaving isn't an option. If housing wasn't enough, the cost of living in Canada has escalated out of control. Groceries, utilities, and transportation have all seen sharp increases. The cost of living in Canada is a burden on its citizens. Some basics, like food, have really skyrocketed, with a dozen eggs costing more than double in price over the last 2 years alone. Gas has been over $2.50 a liter for so long that most people feel pinched by having to travel. Inflation, currently at 7.5%, affects the purchasing power of Canadian families, leaving them with fewer resources to cover basic needs. It hinders many families from fun and activities they used to enjoy, with many forced to take painful reduction. Food bank demands have skyrocketed by 50%. For middle-class families, survival now depends on a tip of assistance programs. On top of this, accusations of corporate greed, such as grocery chains inflating prices for profit, add to public frustration. The result is a population struggling to maintain a standard of living that once seemed guaranteed. Canada once had a crown jewel, its universal health care. In 2025, it will become a nightmare for most Canadians. Wait times for surgeries and specialist appointments are unbearably long. For instance, patients awaiting non-urgent surgeries face a wait time of about 18 months on average. Moreover, people flood the emergency rooms, waiting more than 12 hours before meeting a doctor. Healthcare workers have left in unprecedented situations due to burnout and low wages, which further drop due to the effects of the pandemic. Emergency rooms are overwhelmed and cannot treat people in a timely manner, causing tragic, avoidable deaths. Lastly, chronic underfunding has resulted in hospitals and clinics being unable to meet increasing demands, as the aging population of Canada raises the demand for healthcare services. This has left many Canadians feeling abandoned by a system they have always trusted. Stories of preventable deaths and untreated illnesses are becoming alarmingly common. Canada has always been known for its harsh winters, but in 2025, climate change has made the country's weather both unpredictable and unbearable. What went horribly wrong? Wildfires, once a seasonal concern, have become a year-round disaster. Provinces like British Columbia and Alberta suffer devastating fires that destroy homes, displace families, and cause devastating blows on air quality. Meanwhile, heavy rains cause catastrophic floods in urban centers, like Montreal, forcing thousands to get displaced from their homes. Temperatures soaring above 40 degrees or 104 degrees make summer hazardous to the weaker population. It's been seen that though Canada promised to lessen carbon footprints and invest more in renewable energies, it progresses very slowly. Instead, this country has seen decades of nothing, and those decades have become an immediate danger for this country. And most importantly, the costs of inaction are felt daily. Canadians have lost faith in their leaders. Scandals, broken promises, and indecisive action have led to a crisis of confidence. The lack of political efficacy has further undermined public confidence in Canadian leadership. Bold campaign promises to address critical issues such as housing, healthcare, and climate change have yet to be delivered. Public anger has translated into mass protests that have further polarized the nation. Movements, fueled by anger and frustration, threaten to destabilize the political system in Canada. With citizens feeling unheard and leaders unable to deliver meaningful change, many Canadians question whether their government can navigate the challenges ahead. This has made many Canadians feel that their voices no longer matter. The combined stress of financial struggles, healthcare failures, and climate anxiety has led to a mental health crisis of unprecedented level. Suicide rates have climbed, and access to mental health services remains limited. The mental health crisis in Canada has gone through a dramatic shift in 2025. Stress from financial insecurity, climate disasters, and healthcare complications has affected the mental health of the population. Suicide rates are increasing, and the need for mental health services dwarfs the available number. Overburdened systems present a reality where it can take months to see a therapist or counselor, leaving many without timely access to support. There remains a stigma associated with help-seeking behavior, particularly in rural settings where access to care is already severely constrained. Isolation, fueled by unaffordable housing and a lack of community spaces, has left countless Canadians feeling isolated and without hope. There are still hopes among some Canadians. Some community initiatives are working day and night to support these crises. Some of the examples are communities coming together to build affordable housing solutions, local initiatives to cut dependence on fossil fuels, and nonprofit organizations offering free or low-cost mental health care. But do these efforts matter in the grand scheme of things against systemic issues? It is perhaps impossible to stay in Canada in 2025, but the story hasn't ended. The hurdles are huge, and so are its people's survival powers. Change is possible, but only with very bold actions, both from the government and from its people. If this video has awakened your eyes, share it with your friends and family. Let's start talking about what has to change so that we make Canada a better place for everybody. What do you think? Can Canada really be called the worst country to live in now, or is hope on the horizon? Let me know in the comments. And, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the issues that matter most.